Warning. The following video contains strong language that some viewers may find offensive or disturbing.
Sometimes cheap and expensive items are the same thing, with the only difference being the brand name. What are some examples of this? You guys should see the stuff we deal with in the medical field. I wanted to get a mesh metal glove to protect myself when using a saw during autopsies. Our medical supplier, Fisher Scientific, sold the hospital a medical-grade chain-mail glove for $300. They forgot to take the Bass Pro Shops tag off. It was a $12 glove for cleaning fish. Years ago I was on a similar thread and found that melamine sponges are the same thing as Mr. Clean Magic erasers. So I hopped on AliExpress and bought 300 of them for a few bucks at 3 a.m. I totally forgot that I'd done it until they showed up 6 weeks later. My wife was really confused. They do work great though, and now we'll never run out. That's funny. I still have at least half a box of those 300-count generic magic erasers I bought a few years ago. But while they do the job, the ones I bought don't last nearly as long as the Mr. Clean brand. They're still both melamine foam. Aquarium nerds will know this one: silicone. Aquariums are usually held together with silicone. And silicone is just 100% silicone, so generally predictable product no matter who makes it. Except, many brands for kitchen and bathroom ceiling have added chemicals to keep mildew from growing on the cured silicone. This is a big no-no for aquariums, basically poison that would kill your aquarium pets. So you gotta read the ingredients and information carefully to make sure it's not anti-mildew or anything dubious added. Or, you can pay double or triple for a pack of silicone with a big aquarium brand stamp. I used to work in a hardware store and I was told that DAP makes both the cheap store brand silicone caulk and the expensive DAP branded stuff. For the equivalent product, i.e., kitchen bath caulk, it was the same exact formula. But like you say, there are differences amongst the types of silicone, so don't just buy the cheapest product. Quick question: is there a difference between cheap and expensive brands of bleach and rubbing alcohol? Yes, I'm aware of the recent news. No, this has nothing to do with that. I'm really just curious. No, though some are made from isopropyl alcohol and some from ethanol. But in any case, as long as you're comparing the same type, brand doesn't matter. I used to work food packaging for Kroger. Roasted peanuts, dry oatmeal flavored or unflavored, cereal, chips. When we changed from store brand to branded item, we would stop the line and change the box and the package. The food is the exact same. Exact. Edit, for one thing. This thread was great to read. We all shared something today. Lol. For another, although I thought it would be self-evident, not every type of cereal. Not every type of chips. Those of you who love your brand. Fuck yeah, I get it. Cascade all the way. It's better and no one is going to tell me different. But when we say there is no difference, we mean it. Food handlers unite. I worked in a frozen waffle pancake factory once, and the only difference between the name brand and off-brand frozen waffles and pancakes was a little metal arm flipping back and forth to ensure every other waffle pancake of the same bakery freezer line made it to the name brand packaging line or off-brand packaging line. Edit, it wasn't fucking Eggos. I was in a shop looking at laptop bags and there were two brands right next to each other that were exactly the same. Same dimensions, color, materials, padding, everything, except one was almost twice the price than the other. In the UK, there was a news story about a man finding another brand of crisps, chips, in a multi-pack. This made national news. Lol. That kind of thing happens all the time at the store I work at. Though it's usually items in a case we receive from the warehouse. Like one time, we received a case of 12-count egg cartons, and 4 of them were the Target store brand. I don't think we've ever had that happen within a multi-pack that a customer bought. Though. I used to work for manufacturing machinery company. You'll be surprised how many major food and pet food producers make supermarket-owned brands. Yep. Worked as a cleaner for a major UK bread brand when I was a kid. Loaves went down 3 different conveyors into our slicers. Each conveyor ending in a different brand's packaging. One our own, and the other 2 being budget brands. Same bread, same recipe, baked on the same day in the same oven. Priced differently depending on packaging. I don't know exact brands, but I would say anything identified as for men versus for women. I'm a female and buy men's deodorant and razors. They're both cheaper and the same exact product, just black versus pink most of the time. Conversely, when I was buying an electric toothbrush, the exact same model in pink was $10 cheaper than the blue one. Same with my kettle actually. The pink was $5 cheaper than the blue. So I've got quite a nice pink collection coming on. Champion does this so much. They have like cheap Champion and the more pricey one. Champion literally used to be shit and you'd get made fun of for wearing it, and now it's all hyped up, but you can still find a Champion shirt for less than $10. I have 3. Edit, thanks for the likes guys, smiley face. I woke up and just saw all this and I didn't know it would blow up. A lot of food on Aldi is, at least here, overproduction from name brands which is labeled differently. And one of the cheaper beer sorts here is entirely from overproduction. Which has the fun effect that you will always get a Pils type beer. But depending where you brought it, it is very different. It's not overproduction. US Aldi and similar Aldi associated company Trader Joe's has their own label manufacture agreements with multiple suppliers. So they aren't taking excess, they actually have specific Aldi runs of products that are then packaged under their name rather than the manufacturer name. Source, GF is a manufacturer supplier for Aldi. Edit, weird Trader Joe's relationship. Retired truck driver here. I often picked up cans of soup for various big retailers. I'll be picking up generic and name brand at the same MFG plant. Same soup, same cans. Just a different label wrapped around them. Brands like Campbell's will produce generic soup right alongside their own brand. The proportions will be a bit different, but the same plant will produce the same soup for 3 or 4 different off-brands as well as their own. At least Campbell's changes up their formula a bit. Meat packers don't. A meat packer will produce their own brand, plus 1 or 2 off-brands. But it's exactly the same meat. From the same plant. Processed exactly the same way. No variation whatsoever, the only difference coming from a meat packing plant is the shipping and handling instructions. Some brands insist the meat not be frozen. Others want it frozen solid as a rock. But the worst offenders is the organic industry. The definition of organic in the U.S. allows for stuff that is definitely not anyone's idea of organic. Organic produce will tend to be smaller than its non-organic counterpart. And often with natural blemishes you normally don't see on regular produce. If it looks exactly like the non-organic counterpart, it's probably not really organic at all. Big telltale is if it's the same size. You don't dump a shit ton of pesticide and fertilizer on produce and not get bigger produce. Dasani water is just bottled tap water. Most bottled water is, really. In the UK they tried to release Dasani and news that it was just bottled tap spread quick. The release failed miserably, despite that, and the revelation that most of the waters in the store are this way. Other bottled water sells fine. Canned vegetables. Often the only thing that changes in the production line is the label. Commodities can be this way. Soda can be this way. On the flip side, I feel outlet malls have items made just for the discount outlet lines of fashion. UK. My dad works for Hovis Bread Factory and a lot of the supermarket home brands are made by named brands. I believe Hovis used to make M&S bread. Auto parts. Very often exact same product could be sold under different brands. Like many cars use ZF transmissions. And buying oil pans under FCA, BMW, JLR part numbers versus ZF's own hash will cost very different amounts. Mayhill versus original Mercedes oil filters also come to mind. I used to work in a supermarket. Those Ferrero Raffaello coconut balls were fucking expensive. There were cheaper brands that literally tasted the same. Also, Mound's chocolate were more expensive than the Bounty. I don't know why, but they tasted the same to me. My supervisor always insisted on putting cheaper brands near the expensive ones. His logic: they are the same kind of product, so they should be found in the place. What would usually happen is people would take the cheaper brands and the expensive ones would just expire on the shelves. Raffaello is the one and only thing that one. Didn't get bad through years and two. Has no competition. Emo. Every chocolate or candy we loved during childhood is such a disappointment, but Raffaello, always the same ball of perfection. Games Workshop shade paints. They're basically just normal oil paints that is extremely thinned down, that is put into a pot and put the Citadel name on it for the brand name, so to justify its expensive price. Girl Scout cookies. I have noticed that some grocery stores carry cookies with different names. Maybe different shapes. But parallel to the Girl Scout cookies. From a green box of chocolate mint cookies to a yellow box of shortbread cookies with lemon icing. Probably the Girl Scout Mafia will come after me for this post. I have worked in a pawn shop for 7 years now. We test everything that comes in, so I have heard every kind of headphone and speaker imaginable. One day I went to test a pair of cheap on Bluetooth earbuds. They sounded better than Beats earbuds. At the next meeting I blindfolded 5 employees and had them listen to those same 2 sets, same song. Same volume, same phone, everything. They all agreed that the second option, the on set, sounded way better than the first set. The Beats. When the test was over they were astonished. Moral of the story is that brand name doesn't mean shit. Something cheaper that can do the same thing will come along and might actually kick ass. Moral of the story is that a brand name is just a logo on a sticker. At the end of the day, it just comes down to having a solid construction and liking the sound. I think an easy way to see this is when you see a product recall and it affects so many brands of the same item. Examples that I can think of include peanut butter and car airbags. For watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. See you next time.